everybody, and welcome back to On the Timeline, the show where we take a deep dive into the editing of our recent short films. So today we are going to be doing Public Engagement. Public Engagement was the film that we released in April, which is the one before Big Sip. So we're just going to go, back until we get to Surface Tension. So if you haven't seen the film yet, this is the time to do it. Spoilers ahead for everything. So yeah, let's get on the timeline. So it starts off with this shot of the ground, these people running, and it's like, whoa, what's happening? It's like, okay, they're wearing backpacks, and then you're like, maybe they're running from something, I'm not sure. And then we get this.
Hey, we're nearly there.
I'm coming. I ain't no Usain Bolt.
So we get this little scene which really sets up their relationship. Siobhan, portrayed by the awesome Bella Rahman, is calling out to her partner who's running with her, honey, we're nearly there, which establishes, okay, they're a couple and they're running somewhere. We don't know where. And then we just go back.
We're nearly there.
We just pan back here to Lolo, who is playing Karabo here. Also another amazing actor, and I'm so happy we got both of these people. Karabo's like, oh, I'm coming. It's just a lot. And that really establishes their relationship. Like, she's the one who really takes charge, and then he's the one who's like always sort of lagging behind. And if we zoom in here, you'll see there's a little hidden cut when it pans back to Bella. Right, and this is because I really liked this lens flare that we were getting on this take, but then his performance of this line, which was completely ad-libbed by Lolo, where he says,
I ain't no Usain Bolt.
I ain't no Usain Bolt. When he says this, it was a little bit better, and the framing was better in this take rather than this one. And I just added this little hidden cut here with a little bit of a blur because I didn't want these lens flares to just disappear completely and quickly. I wanted it to transition into that. That's a technique that I've used a lot for a lot of videos, and it's very easy to do. Pony Smasher, who's now obviously a very famous director in Hollywood, also still uses this. He's been releasing some short films and he also uses this, and it's amazing because you could just cut, right? In this one I faded because I wanted that lens flare to just fade out nicely. And then we get another shot of the ground. Oop, there's some people. What are they doing? There's another wide, and it's like, okay, maybe these people are chasing them. Probably not. Maybe they're another team. We don't know what's happening. And then there's this shot. Obviously, this is a parody of The Amazing Race, if you haven't noticed. Doing a lot of research in that, I noticed that there's always these like big crane shots to establish the location, and obviously, being a very, very low budget indie short film, we did not have access to a crane, but I do have a drone. It's a little DJI Mavic Air, and I was like, this could be our like production value thing. So this is obviously now the host. He's like standing in this like in the center of the frame, even though it's a little bit off, but it's basically the center frame.
Approach the finish line on this auspicious day.
So okay, now we know those were two teams.
The 20th anniversary of the spectacular journey.
Spectacular journey, amazing race. In case you didn't notice, which I doubt.
They put themselves in line to win the grand prize of 1 million rand. But the grand prize would not compare to what one of those teams could win tonight.
In reality TV, they're always cutting this way, that way. The whole film is very stylized to look like what an episode might look like. But for this little sequence, I spoke with Justin, and we were like, let's just go all out.
Yeah, let's just do it like super cliche.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but for one of those teams, turn.
Cool, let's play. Let's make it as cliched as possible.
This guy's always like cutting and moving his head as like a motivation for the cutting. So that's what we used. And then it's really interesting because it goes from this extreme wide to this like close up, and then back to a little bit of a wider medium.
The grand prize would not compare to what one of those teams could win tonight.
And then we go to another wide for like that emphasis of tonight. Another thing to note here, you probably saw it says flying drone fix, right? If I turn this layer off, you see there's two people who pop up randomly right there. That's just one of the things that you have to deal with when you are shooting a low budget film. This was particularly troublesome. Luckily, obviously, After Effects now has the amazing content aware fill that, Photoshop has had for years. I've never used it before this, and it's amazing. Like, you see that. You saw that. Yeah, good job, Adobe. But I mean, everybody knows that already. Adobe sponsor me. So now that we know what's happening, we cut back to some running. You see these guys are far away, but these guys are coming closer to the camera. And then we see, okay, these guys are running away from camera, right? So there's like subtle hints where screen direction is obviously a very important thing. We sort of know who's going to win. And then we confirm that by Justin being like, okay, no, that wasn't something. And then we get another close-up again, running towards the camera. And then Justin's like, wait, do I see something? Leans in, and then ad break. So at least in South Africa, all these ad breaks have little sound bites. And this is very similar to one that, you know, SABC2 uses or used a while ago. But this actually was not in the script. These ad breaks were like, I did the whole first cut, you know, it was missing something. And we're like, oh, ad breaks. I did them, and I think they're awesome because it helps with building tension as well. To mimic the reality TV style, you have to build tension. I edited a reality TV show a little while ago, and that's one of the things that I learned from that is like you always build tension and you always build to an ad break because it's like a little cliffhanger. And if you have a lot of cliffhangers, you have a good cut of the thing and people stay engaged. And then this music, up until now, I haven't really addressed it, but you can see this is the final mix of the music because when I was doing the rough cut, you see these blue ones that I just downloaded from YouTube, which is actually music from Amazing Race. So I used that to like inspire me and whatever. I'm not going to play it here because, you know, YouTube copyrights and all that fun stuff. We're just playing the stuff that I got from Artlist, which is just an amazing thing for filmmakers. It's all the time just finding these like bits of music. We didn't have Alex, our composer, score for this because I really wanted to get that like stock idea. You know, everything in TV is like, can we get stock footage? What's the cheapest way that we can do things? And even though a show like The Amazing Race would have like a score that they use for many things, like didn't have the budget to record an orchestra, so I rather went with the stock music that sounds like that already. So anyways, we cut to this ad break. And that also always gets a laugh when people watch it, and I'm always like, yes. And then we've got this shot of just these like vegetables and fruits and things and people buying artichokes. I wonder if that's gonna pay off later. Farmer Jeremy Company. Will that pay off later? It's an artichoke. Cut back. I didn't want to waste too much time with ads. And then for this, I literally had the same shots, but just reversed the order until we finally get to this shot. Okay, it's a staircase. And yes, it's the people that we were introduced to first who got there. We know the most about them. We're rooting for them by this point. And we see this. This is the funniest for me because obviously Jerome, who's an executive producer of the show, you know, he wants good television and usually he's unbiased. He doesn't really care who arrives first because he's got no stake in this. In this one, is like, oh, this is going to be good television. I'm going to make a lot of money out of this episode. So that's what I really like about Justin's amazing performance here. And then they arrive, just really drawing out this moment as long as possible. And then boom.
Bravo, Siobhan. Welcome to the...
And then again, we just mimicked this like live, you know, just zoom in, create that like anticipation. Okay.
Think of the day.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, what do you think of the decor? And like, that is typical of what they do in Amazing Race as well. It like tries to distract them, ask them other questions. But in this case, you know, the decor has something to do with Siobhan and Bella. So he's like, let me allude to it.
I mean, it's beautiful.
And then she's like, oh, I don't know, it's cool, I guess. But like, let's get to like, did we win? As soon as she's like, yeah, let's get on with it. It's like, okay, are you gonna say something? And then even Karabo's like, oh, what's happening? She's like, what's happening?
You're the first to cross the finish line. And it gives...
Something that I want to highlight here is that all the shots in this sequence are from the sort of male perspective. You know, we're over Karabo's shoulder here. We're like seeing them on either side of Bella, who is like in the middle of this thing. And then we just cut her out completely. But then when we listen to her, again, surrounded. There's his arm. This guy's like taking up a lot of the frame.
It's beautiful.
See, every time it's like meant sort of like alluding to what's going to happen, it's like Bella just pops into frame a little bit, but he's looking at Karabo. It's like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. She's in the middle. There's no way for her to go. She just locks eyes with this ring box and she's like, oh no. Still, from her perspective, she's got like a second where she has like a path to leave, but it's like it's a second and then oop, there comes the ring, trapping her again. She looks at it like, guess this is my life now. One of the things that I love about Bella's performance here as well is she just grabs her arm, and she grabs her left arm, which is the arm where the ring is supposed to go. So she's like, oh no, catch the hint, but he just doesn't. And then here she looks into the camera.
So
She's like, okay, well, I saw the camera, so now I have to do this, so I'm just gonna act for the camera. And then he proposes. She's looking at the camera. What is she gonna say? Karabo's like, why is she taking so long? The ring, and another ad break. Okay, for the second ad, it had to be jewelry. It just had to be jewelry. But then the idea came up like, okay, what is the meaning? What fictional store? Obviously, we didn't have a sponsor for the jewelry, but skjor actually in Norwegian means fragile or like brittle. But what I thought was really interesting about that is like everybody thinks sees women as like these brittle, fragile things, but actually like in Viking history, like women were treated pretty fairly, or a lot more equal and fair than in other Western cultures. Yeah, so that's the ad. And then back to this. I wanted to keep this one really short because like we've already seen one back over here. Different music, obviously.
marry me.
And then the music comes out. What's she gonna say?
Yes.
And then she says yes. And everybody's like, yes! Amazing. He puts on the ring. So when we get here to the little movie thing, it's their audition tape, obviously.
You should choose us for the 20th season of the spectacular journey.
The audition tape has to instantly make you like them because it would be the thing that made the producers also like them, but then also show a little bit of their relationship. A great thing that Lolo and Bella came up with on their own. I think he's supposed to be pointing at himself, but he like pointing at her as well, saying like everything is about her. But then she like corrects and points both to him as well. And then, 20th season, but then, oh, you're in my space, honey. So all these shots were actually taken when we were actually setting up. A lot of things with low budget films is you need to be efficient with your time.
Farmer Jeremy was having a sale on artichokes.
Farmer Jeremy was having a sale on artichokes. And what was the first ad about? I wonder. Farmer Jeremy and his artichokes. Obviously, that's all fake. If there is any Farmer Jeremy out there, I hope you make artichokes.
I'm artichoked up.
So he makes that joke, and then we just stay on it, It's like he makes the joke and then realizes like, oh, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
And then, oops, the couch is making a noise, but like, oh, I don't want to redo this take, so I'm just gonna keep going. And then back into the ridiculousness, because either they were being kissing the whole time, which I don't think anybody would believe, or they were like setting up the shot, and then the producers or whoever camera people were like, just kiss again. And also they're just dismissing this whole season without telling us what happened to the other teams, And then we've got these like fake titles and these executive producers. There's Jerome. Just cut straight from this like music. Oh, we're done. No, we're not. And it's quiet, just drawing it out. We don't see Bella's face. He keeps telling her he's smiling. Let's get out.
I'm not marrying you.
And there it is. The bomb drops. And you notice how she still hasn't shown her face. And it's just this like thing. Like, wait, what? And this guy must be the most clueless person if he like this whole car ride back did not talk about anything and she didn't say anything.
I want to marry you.
He's just all hunky-dory. Oh, everything's great. We're going to get married. We just want the competition. Everything's great. But then, no, it's not, dude. You're not listening to your partner. And you see Bella still not looking at him. And then
No on
there,
national television?
she's like, no on national television. She's like, look at me. What was I supposed to say? Say no on national television? Come on. You put me in this really difficult spot. And what was I going to do?
Yeah,
And I
but
just
only
really
because
wanted
you're
this to be
pushing
very
me.
static. I didn't want to have too
How
many
times
cuts.
did you want to quit?
Like
know
I wanted
what?
to cut into certain things
You're a
like here
whiner.
and like here where it's like, okay, listen to
All
me,
you do
close
is
up.
whine.
You're a whiner. I'm getting honest.
Eh. Guess what, pal? Nobody wants to do that.
But that's
the
just the game, and it's the game of love as well. And she can't even remember the farmer's market. The farmer's market is the whole reason. I guess he's like, who buys artichokes? And if you wanted the same artichoke that I wanted, then we must be soulmates because who buys artichokes? A lot of people buy artichokes.
But we went for the artichoke at the same time.
Oh my word. It's because I wanted an artichoke,
Yeah.
not a husband.
Does this mean we're breaking up?
Of course you're breaking up. This guy is still clueless. He's like holding on to things. Even when she, like, he asks the question thinking it's going to be a joke, but then when she says yes, of course, even, he's like, what? But why?
But
the artichoke.
artichokes.
You know? And they're just like, this is probably why. You also notice there's no music in this scene. So the whole thing before has music. There's like a couple of beats where there's no music, but the whole thing has music. It's produced. It's not real. It's reality TV. But then this scene, you know, we've got the little aspect ratio bars here as well. That's to like say like, okay, we switched over. This is cinematic. This is real life. You know, the reality TV is one thing, but now we're in real life. And he just has to deal with it. Artichoke. And now his whole world is shattered. And then we fade away. Yeah, and then credits. But wait, there's more.
I don't think we're in the right park.
And then we finally get the answer. Where have these guys been? Not even in the right park. So the whole production left. They didn't even call this guy, but there's a camera guy who's still with them. This guy's kind of like, oh guys, let's just leave. And that was it for the On the Timeline episode 2, focusing on the editing of public engagement. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like. We're going to be doing this series until we run out of films, and then we'll just make more films and we'll make more editing breakdowns. It'll just keep going. So yeah, guys, subscribe if you aren't already, and hit the bell to make sure you don't miss any of our new uploads. We upload videos every Tuesday morning and Friday afternoon, and a new short film on the first Friday of every month. So until next time, stay inside and make your movie.